Namatu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zim, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is 29th of December 2020, and this is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Manish, Margaret. Good evening, everyone. So today we have snow and frozen and so slippery. It's very cold. Yeah. And today is also a full moon day. Yeah, a full moon day. Every month we have full moon days that we all have to shave our heads and eyebrows. And I think I have mentioned about shaving the heads and eyebrows last month or so. And today is another special full moon, actually, particularly for the Sri Lankan community. And also, this full moon is very significant in the history of Sri Lankan Buddhism and a freedom for or a greater choice for the women or the females. The story is that the Buddha passed away, so-called entered the Parinibbana, and then later on Buddha's teachings were compiled with the congregation of venerable monks, learned and noble venerable monks compiled. And it happened after 100 years, and then gradually, because of the popularity of venerable monks in the Buddhist community, slowly uh, other people also began to join the community just for the sake of um, shelter and opportunities and for food. And gradually, the teachings began to manipulate it and misinterpreted it and mispracticed. And with this, it happened that during the time of a King Ashoka in India, which was about after 300 years later, the Buddha passed away. This king initially wasn't the Buddhist. And the story says, or the legend of this king Ashoka says that there was a big battle in one of the countries, because at that time, remember, whole India was divided into so many different countries and republicans. Even the time of the Buddha, the whole India was divided into 16 different kingdoms, and within that kingdoms, again, sub countries were divided, like UK, combination of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and also other small islands around the world. Likewise, At the time of the Buddha, the whole India was divided into so many different countries and counties. And this continued until the time of the king Ashoka around 300 BC, around 300 BC. And in that time, this king Ashoka was on battle, on war, uniting the whole India in one piece of country. So uniting whole India. And this battle goes on. And one day, when the king Ashoka was in the battle, one country, battle with the one country, and he realized that in the past he never thought of how dangerous and how many people have lost in the battles. But on that war, King Ashoka looked back the battlefield and saw that there are women, children, and so many people died. And with that, he felt so sad. He wasn't happy. And when he wasn't happy, so he went back to the palace. And the legend says that at that time, it happened that one of the venerable monks were on the Ipindapata, or the alms around, in early morning. And this venerable monk was still a novice, not even a highly ordained one. Higher ordained one is called a monk. Having seen his serene and calm and freedom from this worldly matters, walking on the streets begging for food, that image impressed the king Ashoka, which is similar to the Venerable Asaji when he was on the alms around and of Sariputta saw his serenity and collected senses. So King Ashoka immediately got this faith and a confidence in this novice monk, and wanted to know that why he is so charming, so calm, and so collected, and so serene. So King Ashoka invited this novice monk to the palace. And that's how King Ashoka became the Buddhists and become the one of the great Buddhist kings. Hello Prani, hello June and Sandra, hello Emma, good evening. I hope that you're all keeping well, free from the and away from snow. Make sure if you are going out, have a wear the proper boots. It's very slippery out there. So this is the moment when the king Ashoka invited this novice monk to the palace and simply asked, saying that your senses are so serene and collected. What is your master teaches you? At that moment, the legend says that King Ashoka heard the 5 precepts of not killing, whereas in his life he had been killing so much for his own pride and so for his own success and a unification of the whole kingdom. And he became Buddhists. And he gave up war he stopped going for wars. And rather than conquering the entire, furthermore, countries, he stopped and began to govern the whole country, in a sense, as the father in one house. And along the way, from there, from Ashoka, become Dhammasoka, means the king and the Ashoka, the king and the Ashoka, the emperor who is following in accordance with the Dhamma. Later, he again established Buddhist centers, Buddhist temples in India, around in India, and established the pagodas, the chaityas, as a significance to venerate the Lord Buddha. And the chaitya, I really like the chaityas, and this is my one of my dreams, that in the future we would like to have a small chaitya, pagoda, in our center, just to show our veneration to the Buddha and a landmark. Uh, so this is my dream in the future, to have it. And we may have heard that India, the Vihara, the county called Vihara, it was a place where the king Ashoka lived. And the Vihara basically means the temples. And that's basically coming from, because the king Ashoka had established so many temples in that area. But he didn't stop, continue studying the Buddhism, and govern the country with the Buddhist values and ethics and rules and regulations. And the story says that he even established the hospitals for the pets, animals, and established the um, stations, like we have a station during these days whenever we are driving from one place, one city to another city, there are breakpoints. Similarly, at that time of the king Ashoka, he established those stations, just to give the place that travelers can go and take a refuge and relax and take a rest. And during that time, it happened that venerable monks divided into two groups. And some a group, the first group was the purely practicing in accordance with the Buddha's teachings, and then another group, due to the gain and the facilities that is provided because of the royal patronage, sponsorship to the Buddhism and Buddhist temples, another group became a monk. So they had to fight each other. The venerable monks who were practicing in accordance with the traditions refused to join the ceremonies, and then they were continued. And it happened that some of the ministers ordered that those who do not practice together will be killed. And with that, the armies went out and killed the Buddhist monks, not knowing that even those Buddhist monks are real, and that given lamentation and a sadness to the king and the Ashoka. And with that, King Ashoka requested to have a Buddhist convent, or called a Sanghayana. And after the Sanghayana, or the Buddhist summit, which was conducted by Moggaliputta as a head monk, under the sponsorship of King Ashoka. And after the the summit ended, then King Ashoka, under his leadership, sent the Buddhist missionaries into 9 different places. And remember, before the summit, before the Buddhist summit, when the King Ashoka went and spoke with the venerable monk, saying that I have done so many good things to the Buddhism and establishment of Buddhism, I wonder whether am I part of a Buddhism yet. And at that time, then the venerable monks told him that not yet, as long as you haven't given your own blood to the Sangha, the Sasana, the dispensation, then you are not the part of it yet. So having heard so, then he asked his son, Prince Mahinda, and Princess Sanghamitta to offer to the Buddha. When they came to ask, they both said to his father, the King Ashoka, that we've been thinking about becoming a monk and becoming a nun for a long time. I am so glad that um, Father, you have asked us. So that's how they become a monk and a nun at the time and studied. And they believed that they also attained the sainthood. And after this Buddhist summit, third Buddhist summit took place and finished, ended, and then sent the 9 missionaries. And among them, one of the missionaries went to Sri Lanka, led by King the Mahinda, Arhat Mahinda, who was the prince. Similarly, another group went to Nepal, another group went to Thailand or Myanmar, like that. So 9 missionaries were sent. And in particularly in terms of um, the Sri Lankan history, this Arhat Mahinda went to teach in Sri Lanka, uh, and then after he managed to establish himself in Sri Lanka, on the day when the Buddhism and Buddhist monks were famous and established under the royal patronage, Princess Anula of Sri Lanka was also uh, uh, deeply got faith in Buddhism, and even said that he attained the Sotapanna by hearing the first discourse given by the Arhat Mahinda. And after hearing that she wanted to become a nun, and hearing that the desire to becoming a nun, King Venerable Mahinda um, sent a message to the king Ashoka, and King Ashoka uh, accepted, and with a joy, the King Ashoka sent Sanghamitta, his own daughter, who ordained as a monk and also believed that he was a saint too. So he summoned and dispatched Sanghamitta along with other nuns to Sri Lanka to establish Buddhist nuns, or so-called Bhikkhuni Sasana. And on that day, it is not just that she along with her group went to Sri Lanka, but she went along with the branch of Mahabodhi tree from Buddha Gaya. And now Mahabodhi tree, under which the Buddha attained the enlightenment, and one of the sacred trees in Buddhism. And this tree again if we take the Buddha's his own words, is a representation of the Buddha, because it comes in the scripture that one time when the Buddha was traveling, the people they feel like a temple without the Buddha is like a very sadness. So then the people went to approach to the Buddha and ask, if in your absence, what should we do to pay respect at that time? Then the Buddha said that plant the Bodhi tree. And that's how the story says Venerable Moggallana went and get the branch of the Bodhi tree and then plant it in the Jetavana. It's known as Ananda Bodhi. So that's why Mahabodhi tree is like a representation of the Buddha in the present moment. That's why in Buddha Gaya, under the Bodhi tree, people will be going and paying respect and get uh, inspiration. And obviously, we need to have some inspirations, and we have to have some ideals who we believe in as an example. So people will be going there and paying respect and meditating, and have done so many times too, like that. So Venerable Sanghamitta, a Vikuni, she took the sapling branch of a Mahabodhi tree to Sri Lanka, as in Anuradhapura now. So that's why this Mahabodhi tree become the central point of the whole nation, and there will be the ceremonies of so-called Bodhi Puja going on, and paying respect going on, and the talks are going on all around. This sacred bow sapling was brought to Sri Lanka, and it is said that in a golden bowl, and planted it in Anuradhapura, something called Mahameuna garden. It was guarded and a few gates there. I've been once. So that's why this day is very significant for the Sri Lankan Buddhists, known, and then celebrate it as the Undoerba Poya Day. And with the arrival of Sanghamitas in Sri Lanka, she was able to revive or ordain the females to the sasana and established the Bhikkhuni sasana. Now, when we look at here, we have heard so many stories and even hearing so many, every day or almost every day about the feminists. Now, when we talk about the feminists, normally people are talking about individuals' rights and individuals' ideas should be fit. Now, when we look at the Sanghamitta's work, what we can see that it is not just you have acquired the freedom, you have gained the knowledge and spiritual freedom, you also have to spread that knowledge so that they can feel the freedom. So that is the real uh, feminist. So Sanghamitta was the great feminist that who uh, gave opportunities to so many hundreds of females in Sri Lanka to become a nun and liberate themselves through their own practice and dedication. And that continued for so many years. And some historians said that from there it even went to China and established the Sangha in Bhikkhuni Sangha in China. So the important factor of this full moon days of today would be the importance of the Mahabodhi tree, which was taken from India to Sri Lanka and established and become a part of the culture of Sri Lanka for over 2000 years and become a part of this Bodhi Puja, paying and venerating the Bodhi tree as the representation of the Buddha. So that's why today is the last full moon day of the year, taking it as the message that Buddha is always with us in a form of a knowledge, in a form of a tree, and then also there's always someone who is knowledgeable, is there to help us to grow in this spiritual path, like the Sanghamitta did. Particularly all who are, let's say, female, if you have studied Dhamma, then do not just keep to yourself, let it spread for the good and happiness of many. Thank you everyone for listening and take care. In a few moments time we are going to have an evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.